So, in all, I've had a lot of fun. I know that not everyone has. I know that one of the guys that spent one night in our room had planned to spend two, and he had such a bad time that he decided to go ahead and check out early. But that was, he kind of came in with an attitude like he was having a bad time, so I'm not super surprised by that. I think more reflective, though, is I feel like this year there has been less of a pageantry, less of a stage presence certainly, but they had, you know, the actual Quake World Championship and all of that. That was neat, and certainly they had a very elaborate stage for that. But in the past, you would have also seen presentations, announcements, different things like that. And I feel like the event kind of suffers when it doesn't have those elements, because it loses a little something. There wasn't even like an opening ceremony, and that kind of, it loses a little bit of that spark, a little bit of that magic, the showmanship. Showmanship's actually kind of a good word for it. I think that some of the organizers have been looking at the DreamHack events in particular, and the fact that it's doing so well. That's speculation on my part, but I think that played a role. I think that there also is something to be said just for the change of venue. I mean, honestly, there's always a shake-up, and this is something that someone mentioned. I can't remember who it was even mentioned it in the one of the QuakeCon Discords. I can't remember if it was the official Discord or the forum Discord, but he mentioned that when they came here the first time, and when they went to the Anatole the first time, pretty much any time they've made a change like this, the first year has got so many mistakes and management issues and the like, and then they basically learn from the mistakes that are made from those years and significantly improve the event to the point that it's awesome the following years. So hopefully that'll be the case here. I think there is a lot of room for improvement, and I am optimistic because they have been saying they expect to expand the event considerably, including the BYOC. This year's BYOC is a little bit smaller than it has been in the past couple of years, and one of the more common statements has been that they plan to expand it. They just won't say how much, and then Tim Willett's last night was saying, no, we're going to be bigger next year. So that's positive. I'm certainly glad to hear that. Like, in all seriousness, whenever I consider that there was no opening ceremonies or anything like that, the closest thing we got was the opening tonight for Master Pancake when they did the Ventrilo raffle. Really, Ventrilo didn't get that much of a presence this year to have been a big sponsor and given away $30,000. It's just didn't feel like it was as big a part of the event this year, and a lot of that simply that they did not do a lot of the presentation that they normally would do. They did not have PC's perspective this year. They didn't have a lot of the things that normally would have brought in large numbers into the main stage area, would have really made it feel like a full-blown event. And I mean, seriously, when you think about it, sporting events, especially multi-day sporting events, think about stuff like the Olympics. There's an opening ceremony and there's a closing ceremony. Do I think QuakeCon is going to to be able to do better next year? Yeah, I really do. I think there's always a little bit of an adjustment period, especially whenever it apparently was as last minute as we have been told it was. I think the bigger issue for me this year is probably the concerns it raises for next year. Because next year will be the 10th season of the BWL road trip. It'll be the 10th year that I've been doing these videos, and it'll be the 10th year that I have attended QuakeCon. So my plan had been, and continues to be, to try and do some big stuff next year. The thing is, I did not get, despite trying, I did not get a ticket to this BYOC. I tried to buy QDQ, I tried to buy a regular select a seat. We did, from the chat room, record sessions while I was trying to buy these things. It didn't happen, and it was very frustrating when that happened. But the more important issue is I got one of the free seats, but if I had not, then I would have been attending as a general attendee, and I would not have been able to do what I'm doing right now. I would not have been able to stream. I would not have been able to jump into any games. And hosting a tournament in the BYOC simply wouldn't work. So that kind of raised a new concern for me. See if I can get in a position to see this yet. I don't expect this to be as cool as I think it should be. Actually, that wasn't bad. But basically, for the 10th anniversary season, for the 10th year of the BWL road trip, doing an It's a Spectacle challenge is going to be largely contingent on getting a seat at QuakeCon. Otherwise, I'm going to have to look at what I can do elsewhere. Have to have the money. Oh, that was sweet. Have to have the money to get the seat, have to have the money to get prizes, but I also have to actually get a seat. It's not worth it to me to spend on all the prizes and everything and then not be able to jump in, spectate, and record what happens. I'm hoping maybe that they'll restore some of what was missing this year. Maybe we'll get an opening ceremony, maybe we'll get some of the benefits for QDQ and UAC. It's like Stinky Turd was saying a minute ago when I was talking to him. Really, QDQ had no benefit this year. Normally QDQ just gets you in the line quicker, but the panels, I never even went to any of the panels. They had some panels upstairs, but they did not have anything of any significance. They didn't have any main events, main stage panels to go to. They had just a few upstairs, like third floor of the convention center in a room in the back panels. They had the tabletop area. I've never made it over there either. It's on the third floor, basically, of the hotel. I feel like the big sort of weak spots this year was just the change in venue. It's always an issue. I remember 2009 was a last-minute return to the Texan. They had actually thoroughly switched the Intel, and there was just a scheduling conflict. 2010 was the return to the Anatole, and I don't remember a lot about it, but I remember that the internet was really bad that year, and I remember that there was a lot of network problems. I think there are probably some legitimate complaints this year. The lack of a finals party, the lack of an opening ceremony, the lack of any kind of announcements. Like, they didn't even show any new footage or trailers or anything like that on the main stage. So there is certainly room for improvement there, and I feel like if they pick a better time, scheduling it during Gamescom, I can't believe they did that. A lot of the vendors probably were at Gamescom, were in Germany, because even the AMD people said they had to come back from Germany to do QuakeCon. You don't want to be in that situation. You don't want to be the reason that they had to cut short their presentations at a bigger event. Wow. It considers that a failure. I'm not nearly as tired as I may sound, but I am fatigued, at least a little bit. My voice is definitely a little more weak and a little more dry. Really probably need to go and get myself something to eat. It's probably getting close to time for me to shut everything down here anyway. The checkout has been going on. The banners have come down in several places. A2M's banner came down a moment ago, so the temperature's dropping. It's definitely a sign that it's the end of QuakeCon for this year. Thinking about needing to tear down all that stuff, so I think we're in a good place to stop for the night. We will see you guys later, and hopefully everything will turn out really well with these videos, and we'll have next year to look forward to.